Hello viewers and welcome to Rwanda Television. I'm Emmanuel Munyarukumbuzi. In this program we'll be talking about the secrets of success, and my guest is no other than Ashish. Welcome to this show, Mr. Ashish.
Thank you so much.
I hope you're enjoying yourself in Rwanda.
Love it. Love it. It's great to be back.
You are the founder of Mara Foundation and Mara Group. You started your business in 1996 with only slightly more than 5,000 US dollars, and now you employ more than 7,500 people in 21 African countries and 27 other countries in the world. So 27 countries in the world in general. And you started at age 15 only in 1996. We'll talk about everything in the course of the show, and but first I would like to know how you see yourself as a son of Africa with Indian roots, with a residence in the United Arab Emirates, and a British citizenship. So how does it come together in one person?
I'm a bit of a lost case, basically, right? But I think more importantly, I feel very African. I am a son of the soil. I'm a fourth generation African, and that's where my passion lies. However, my British citizenship is something that I'm born in England, so obviously that's very close to my heart as well. My spirituality side and my culture in terms of my Indian roots plays an important role. And living in the UAE and being based there for the last 17 years, obviously I have a very close affinity to it, and I feel that so does Africa generally with the UAE have a close affinity. So overall, all the places and things are very relevant to me, but I'm definitely a son of Africa.
Mm-hmm. So what connects you to this particular country, Rwanda?
Rwanda, it has a very special place in my heart. We used to live here in 1993, and then me, my sister, and parents were here during the genocide in '94. We left, and then we came back again several times afterwards. I've come back. The last time was a long time ago, in the early 2000s. So it's obviously something very close to us. When I landed here, it felt like I've come back home. So it was a great feeling, and I'm very happy to be here.
That's great to hear. So how did you come to know about Imbuto Foundation and their Sirgwa event?
So Imbuto Foundation I've heard of due to the youth empowerment angle, and I was invited as the guest speaker. And it was a great pleasure and honor to have been invited. So I'm very glad I came down especially for this for the event and attended it last night.
Mm-hmm. So we would like to know as well if there are any similarity, because we know that you're founder of Mara Foundation. So we would like to know, is there any similarity between Mara Foundation and Imbuto Foundation in terms of empowering the young generation?
I think there's a lot of similarities between the Imbuto Foundation and Mara Foundation. I think some being that obviously we're out to enable, empower, and inspire young entrepreneurs. Sirwa was an initiative of celebrating success, which is extremely important. But I think the biggest similarity that the Imbuto Foundation and Mara Foundation has is that we're very passionate about our causes. It's amazing to see that they're doing it very genuinely. There's no hidden agenda. There's no other intention apart from impact, apart from making a difference. And the Mara Foundation is exactly the same. So it's great to see that, and it was very touching, and you could feel it within the First Lady, you could feel it within her team, you could also feel it within the crowd, that it was a very genuine, it was very passionate, so it was fantastic to see that.
That's great to hear. Now, when you talk about the importance of celebrating success, how important is it for both achievers and those who dream to be achievers?
I think it's more important for the dreamers rather than the achievers. I think the achievers is fine, it's a recognition of their success, but more importantly, the dreamers kind of get that inspiration piece that it is possible, even I can do it, even I can get there. So I think it's more important for the dreamers than it is for the achievers. So celebrating success is an important element.
So now coming to when you have a chance of talking about Rwanda, what do you tell people?
I mean, I would say Rwanda is one of our best case studies as a continent of 54 countries. I'd say Rwanda is one of our best case studies of a turnaround. 19 years ago, right, we were torn as a country. Today, when you see the progress, the development, the growth, it's amazing. I mean, it's a brilliant story to be written, right? And it's a showcase that we need to highlight. So I am very, very excited and proud of Rwanda, and really make the most of that when I'm traveling abroad and when I'm speaking at conferences. I make sure to highlight that yes, we as Africa have many challenges, but we have the ability to turn it around. And I think that really boils down to leadership, and His Excellency Paul Kagame has been a great testament to that.
Now, coming back to yourself and your success and the beginning and the process and becoming who you are and the setbacks and the discouragements and everything, I would like to know, how does it feel to be the youngest billionaire, African billionaire? And I understand you don't like being labeled as the youngest African billionaire.
So I think, I don't think wealth should be a measurement of success at all, right? Wealth should be the last thing that people should measure as a form of success. Your success should be measured according to how much impact you're creating, how many lives you're changing, and what kind of difference you're making in the world. And therefore the title is not something I'm very fond of, because I would rather, be seen as and remembered as somebody who's actually making a difference, making an impact. So I think that's very important, that people should not be driven by wealth. They should be driven by change.
Now, aren't you confirming the assertion that money is not important for those who have it?
No, it's generally not important for. I mean, it is important. It pays your bills. It's it keeps the wheels turning. So it is important. I'm not saying it's not important, but I'm saying that it shouldn't be the only driving force. I'm saying that your target should not only be wealth related, right? So that's the important thing. You got to love what you do, right? You may make more money doing other things, right? I could do oil and gas and mining and actually do a lot better than I'm doing today, right? But that's not the point. I mean, you got to do things that you're actually passionate about, and that you actually enjoy doing. But also, how you create an impact and leave a positive mark, and make a difference in the surroundings is very, very important. So therefore, money is important. It keeps the wheels turning, but it should not be the only driving force.
Okay. Now, tell us about the young Ashish. What were your wildest dream as a young boy?
I loved entrepreneurship. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I wanted to be an entrepreneur cross-border. That was the dream, right? Whether or not that would ever happen, I had no idea. But starting off at the age of 15, with very little capital, no ability to network, you tend to dream big, but you never know whether it's going to happen or not. But it's always important to be positive and stay focused on it. And hope that one day it will. Do I think I've reached my dream? Do I think I'm successful? No, I think I've got a very long way to go still. We've got a continent of 1 billion people, and I don't think I've moved the needle at all in terms of creating an impact. So that's what I want to really focus on now.
Mm-hmm. Now, still talking about your childhood and your early youth, because actually you're still young, I would like to know, what did your parents think with your ideas? What did your entourage, if we may put it that way, think about your dreams and everything? Because at a certain point, I was listening to your speech recently when you talked about your parents and how you lived in poverty and how people were even afraid of approaching your parents because they were afraid your parents would ask some favors or any other thing. So how does it come together? Tell us, how did they think about you dreaming that big, knowing the constraints you had at that time? What did they think, and what did your entourage in general think about your dreams?
I mean, my parents were supportive in the sense that they let me quit school at the age of 15, and they let me try it for a year to see how it goes.
So quitting school is the way to go? Do you?
No, but I think everybody else did think I was crazy. Right? I mean, they genuinely didn't think I was nuts because, why would a 15-year-old have such ambitions? And everybody does, and how is he going to make it happen? And I think the fact that people thought I was crazy and that I couldn't do it drove me to do it even more, to prove that I can do it. And I think that determination is critical. Like, even within the first year, I've got so many examples of actually collapsing flat on my face and thinking, I'm going to go back to education now, right? But you have to get up, you have to dust yourself off, you have to try again. And that has to be a constant process. So that's the important part, I think, more than anything.
Now, still talking about dropping out of school, we've heard about many success stories of people who did drop out of school. And here I'll talk about Bill Gates because it's the person everybody maybe knows who did drop out of school and only recently had his degree, his honorary degree. Now tell us, and when I was listening to you during the Sirgwa event, you also said that you still have that option because your parents apparently said that they give you 1 year to try your business, to try to achieve your dreams, and if you are not successful enough, you would go back to school 1 year behind your colleagues. So tell us, is it the message we're putting to the young people that they should quit school and try to be entrepreneurs? Is it the way to go?
The message I'm giving to the young people is that be determined, follow your dreams.
Yes.
Right. Education is an important part, and it is more important today than it was at that time. In today's society, in terms of knowledge base, your diversity of knowledge, etc. However, you must follow your dreams. You must follow your passions. So you must do what you're most passionate about. In a practical way, keeping in mind the worst case scenario. Not everything is going to work out according to plan. So keeping a worst case scenario like I did, that when I started at 15, I had an option to go back a year behind my friends. Now, going back to school a year behind your friends is a big issue for you, right? You're not as smart as them, you're a year behind them, all those elements. But that was my worst case scenario, and it's important to plan for your worst case scenario. But saying that, I think my message would be follow your dreams, follow your passions, and when you do, be prepared for challenges, be prepared to get knocked down. But be persistent, keep on trying, and just make it happen. Like, there is no other option apart from succeeding. And if you keep that in mind, if it means 16, 18 hours a day, then so be it.
Now, when you talk about you starting off as a very young person with no capital, with no ability of networking and everything, people might be thinking that maybe it's because he comes from a certain family, maybe it's because he could pay himself a trip to Dubai, maybe it's because there are always like 1,000 maybes. Mm-hmm. So what do you say to our viewers who are watching today and saying that, are those maybes important, or is the inner drive that's more important than the maybes? We say, okay, maybe he comes from a wealthy family, maybe it's because he has access to this, or maybe it's because of this and this.
So let's clarify the maybes, right? My family lost everything. We had nothing. The only assets we had as a family were the clothes we were wearing. We had absolutely no money. I borrowed $5,000 from different people and gathered $5,000 and used that to buy my ticket to Dubai. The people I met were the people I was sitting next to on the plane, and I was trying to network with anyone and everyone I could talk to and get to know. So those maybes need to be put in perspective, right? People were avoiding my family, scared that my family will ask for favors if we get too close. So these maybes first need to be put at rest, that we had zero money. People were scared of talking to us. No ability to network, right? So we literally started from bare ground. So it's important to put that into context, that there was no other maybes in this, right? This was a genuine case. This was a fact. And I was made here. I was in this region, right? So I started off in this region. So it's not like I started in the US and set up Facebook and, became a billionaire. No, this is something that we did hardcore. So that's the important element. So people need to keep that in mind. And look, I think people must, and I'm not saying my story is exactly the path to follow, yes. But like this, there are many, many different stories, right? People can't follow Mark Zuckerberg's story or Bill Gates' story, even if they want to, because it's difficult. Everything has its own time. But the message behind all
context and everything.
Exactly, but the message behind it all is that persistence, determination, hard work, honesty will eventually pay off.
Now you're talking about values. You're talking about determination, you're talking about being honest, you're talking about integrity, and all the values that should really characterize human beings today. Yet business people are known to be not that honest, not that I would even use a strong term, greedy, to be greedy, to do anything that brings them money. So how do you relate that assumption with the values you're advocating for?
So I'd say two things. Firstly, you can't generalize, right? You can't generalize any nationality, any culture, any type of profession, firstly. Secondly, those business people who are ruthless, who are greedy,
Ruthless
who
is
are
actually the word.
who are driven behind nothing but wealth, is always short term. It never is a long term plan. Right? Look at Bill Gates today. You use Bill Gates as an example. Look at Bill Gates today. I mean, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation gives away $5 to $6 billion a year. So you can see the values that was behind everything. He didn't do it for himself, right? So you got to keep everything in mind that values is so important. If you want to have a long-term play, values, your ethics needs to be so sound, and therefore let it be slow and steady growth. It's not an overnight success. This is not an overnight success game. This is not going to happen overnight. It did not. It's been 17 years for me personally, right, which is more than half my life. But I'm still at it. I'm still not successful as far as I'm concerned. So it's important to understand this is a journey. It's not a destination, right? It's a journey. And you got to live it, you got to love it, but the values have to be solid. Otherwise, it won't be long term at all.
So now talking about you not feeling that you've really reached your goals and everything, how do you be who you are and still keep your feet on the ground?
I think that's thanks to my spiritual leader, Morari Bapu, right? I think his teaching of truth, love and compassion kind of keeps you grounded. And those values play a major role in my life. And at the same time, you know, every time you think you're successful and big and you've done something, you must look outside and realize that you're still a drop in the ocean, right? That you're still nothing in the grand scheme of things. And when you realize that, maybe you're big within your little society or within your little network, and maybe you're successful in that, then you must quickly snap out of that and quickly look at the outside world and realize you're still absolutely nothing. And as long as you keep on remembering that and not forgetting where your roots are, not forgetting where you've come from, I think you'll always be in check. You'll always be in balance.
Now, talking about seeing what is done elsewhere, being able to have exposure on the world, some people think that for young people in Africa, the best place to be is outside the continent, and the best time for Africa was the past, because some people even go further and say that this is a lost continent. So what do you have to say about those assumptions?
I feel sorry for those people. I deeply do. I think we are a continent in transformation. Rwanda is a testament to that. We are a continent that's transforming completely, where India and China, what they were 10, 15 years ago is what we are now. We have the ability to reshape the world generally. Look at the amount of population we have. Look at the landmass we have. We're physically larger than North America, Western Europe, India and China put together. The amount of natural rain-fed arable land we have. People are talking of food securities in the West, right? And we've got the most naturally rain-fed arable land. The amount of minerals that we've got, the amount of wealth we've got. When you look at this, we are the future. And anybody who thinks otherwise, I genuinely, deeply do feel sorry for them. And in 5-10 years, they'll be kicking themselves, wishing that they had come back, wishing that they had banked on us as a continent.
Now, you're saying that, but still you had to relocate and go to Dubai. Maybe in a sense you confirm those assumptions, because listening to you some time back, you were saying that living on the African continent, you wouldn't get credit for your business, and people wouldn't believe you genuine, people wouldn't believe you honest until you set up a business, you registered your company in Dubai. So how do you make a difference with being African, being on the continent, and having that dreaming license, and not having to go outside or stay?
Remember that.
How do you put that together?
At that time for me it was 1996. At that time the continent was not an amazing place to be. There was so much going on, right? I mean, in perception wise. Today the time is very different. Everybody wants to deal with Africa. So that number one has gone away. Number two, why are we based in Dubai? Dubai is a brilliant hub for Africa. Operating in 21 countries in Africa. To approach West Africa, East and Central Africa, and Southern Africa, Dubai is a great hub. If you're in South Africa, you're far too south. If you're in London, you're far too north. From Kenya, you don't get all the visas for all the necessary countries. As a region, if you want to get visas for any countries, if I want any of my staff to come from any of the countries, getting them visas within 72 hours, Dubai is the best hub in that sense. UAE connects Africa to Europe, to Asia, and the US as well. So when you think about it, the UAE is actually a very strategic hub for Africa. And that's why we're there. But I spend almost 20-25 days a month on the continent.
Now, you once said that you want to put the African flag in space. What does that mean?
So I'm a founder astronaut with Virgin Galactic. So I'm Africa's second astronaut, but East Africa's first. So I will be taking the Rwanda flag with me as well to space, and as a way to kind of show the West that we, as Africa, have the vision and ability as well, that we are going to go to that height. So it's a very fun journey, but it's a way to kind of send a strong message. So I'm very excited.
Could you please elaborate a little bit more on that?
The actual journey or the mission behind it?
The actual journey and the mission behind, maybe briefly.
the actual
I think both
journey
is important.
The actual journey is, Virgin Galactic is a space mission, which it's a mid-air rocket launcher. So I'm a founder astronaut there, which means I'm going to be one of the first few to go. And the whole mission behind it is to kind of, as Africa, we want to get some good news out there. We want to actually show people that we have the vision and ability as well. That sky is not the limit for us, right? We can go further. We can go beyond. So being Africa's second astronaut is a very strong testament to that. And representing Rwanda just gives me that much more pride.
We thank you very much for your time, for sharing the words of wisdom with our viewers today, and for being able to be humble despite all the achievements you've registered, and for telling us that the integrity, the values, and everything is very important if you want your business to be long-lasting and to go far, and to know that we are always in continuous improvement, whatever we do. And thank you also for telling us that we as African youth have the dreaming license wherever we are and whatever our background is.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Take care.
Viewers, now we come to the end of today's interview. I hope you've learned a lot. Please do enjoy the rest of the programs brought to you by Rwanda Television. Bye-bye.